In verse 34, and he said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." And then John 11:35, Jesus wept. Now this verse is famous mainly because it is the shortest verse in the Bible. It's known for that. However, in context, there's so much more going on than being short. The fact that the God of heaven and earth, the creator of all things, the Alpha and the Omega, who came to earth incarnate, who took on flesh and dwelt among us, that he who is eternally powerful and eternally living, that he would go to a group of mourners and weep with them, tells us so much about who our God is and what he is like. He is willing to weep with those who weep. Now, I don't know today if you're ready to party or ready to weep or something in between, but I want you to know that our God is the kind of God who wants to experience those emotions with you. On your best day, when there's fullness of joy and happiness, you can know that God enters into that party with you, and he's even willing to turn water into wine to keep the joy going. And then on the worst day that you experience, that day when you lose your spouse to death or a child to death, that day when you can hardly roll out of bed to go to a funeral, you can know that the Lord Jesus Christ is there with you and he is weeping with you. He's feeling that brokenness with you. He knows what it means to weep with those who weep and to rejoice with those who rejoice. That means we need to throw parties for people and we need to attend funerals. Let me take just a second and apply this. Really, it's not a joke that I titled this lesson, Throw Parties and Attend Funerals. Really, this is a strong application that comes out of this text. Go to the places where people are rejoicing. Go to the places where people are weeping. Now, of course, this text is broader than that. There are plenty of times when we need to rejoice and weep with people, and it's not a party or a funeral. We may have to go over to their house and see them, or it may be that we're at church one day and there's a friend with a tissue crying, and we have an opportunity to weep with those who weep there. So I'm not saying this is strictly about parties and funerals. What I am saying is that those are two great ways to apply this text. Don't be afraid to go to parties. Go to every party that you're invited to. Don't ever turn a party down unless you just have to. That way you can get into the environment where people are rejoicing and you can rejoice with them. And go to every funeral you have a chance to go to and weep with the people who are weeping there. Now, this is radical teaching. Most Christians aren't willing to take things this far, just like most Christians aren't willing to love their enemies, what we talked about in verse 14. But Jesus pushes us this far. Go to where people are happy and be happy with them. Go to where people are sad and be sad with them.